Well, friends, welcome to the channel. Bob here. Just a random stream. If you're watching this on VOD later, I'm not sure how interesting this will be. I've just kind of clicked stream really. Okay, this fight's not going particularly well at all. I've been trying to stay in Berserker mode. Oh, I actually managed to disarm him then. Excellent. I'm trying to stay in Berserker mode, but it's pretty tricky. Because I kind of I get down to where I go Berserk, then I'll stick my fungi on. But sometimes the Guard Pride particularly still does an absolute crap ton of damage. And I think the issue is because I don't really have much in the way of AC. So I need to pick up some cheap AC stuff somehow. I keep looking on the EC, but there's nothing there. What I'm going to do, what I'm going to do is try and do like a, it's very close. Try and do like, I've picked up a couple of bits, like get some of the crafted armor pieces, essentially. That's better. The other thing as well, like being in Berserker mode, is that again, I think it might have been a bit of a better bone, like more of a bone for warriors again. But I'm not getting as many crits or crippling blows as I'd hoped to have done. But in saying that, we've just got some big hits there. Essentially what I'm trying to do is stay in thingy mode and increase my bind wound as well. That's the plan at this moment. It's quite easy to do here because they're just blue warrior mobs, you know. So sometimes I have to run around a bit Benny Hill. Oh, actually, hang on. Look what's happened there. I just noticed that. So when you disarm them, their weapon actually falls on the floor and it stays there. Huh, cool. It's so nice coming back to Everquest after playing kind of the modern indie MMOs who, I don't know, just seem to want you to do and spend time doing stuff, too much stuff, and not actually playing the game. It's nice to come and just play a game. 100 by a wound. Woohoo! It's still very slow. It gets better. I reckon what they could have done, more interesting, is to have different qualities of bandages, or you get bandages, but when you can apply something to the bandages that you know, makes them a bit better. I might do a stream of it, I'm not sure, but I think I was kind of going to start at one end, and I was going to make my way through the old world essentially, like trying to collect bits for the crafted armor, and just to do it really as a break from leveling and just something interesting to do. I think, we might as well pull him down, won't we? I think there's a few. As I said, I've got what have I got? I've got an aviac charm. I don't think I need anything else from here. I needed a werewolf claw or talon or some such for, I think, for the chest piece. And I came here because I knew that the werewolves spawned here. But essentially, guard Kilson is definitely slightly a bit of a lower level than the other guard. Yeah, but apparently it's not the ones here that drop the bit that I need. They're in Mistmore, so I'm not sure if I can access them solo. I'll have to see how it goes. Actually, it was quite good coming here, because coming here I found a hunting spot. It's nice chill one, just like a proper Everquest camp. You just sit around, and I think quite often I'm the only one in the actual zone. It's funny, I was in South Karana the other day, and I was the only one in the zone, which is quite surprising. And I ran around a little bit on the off chance that maybe someone had left a Quillmane knocking around, or it had spawned and when no one was there, but I didn't find one. So I wonder if I can now bandage more than 50%, because I couldn't do it. Maybe now I've reached 100, it's like a threshold. Oh yes, okay, so I still can't bandage above 50. I'm pretty sure it does go up at some point. What I noticed about warriors is they get a lot of hit points, a lot of bang for their buck, just for the you know, from a hit point of view. I mean, I think I've got a couple of hit point rings. I've got a little bit of stamina, but as you can see, it's not a huge amount. But like, I've currently got more hit points than my chainman's got. Okay, so Guard Pride is the one that gives us a good smacking. I guess this disarm maybe becomes more useful later on. I guess it does decrease the damage of the mob. I'm not sure. I know that I was fighting the gnolls that were dual wielding, and they were doing a lot more damage than the ones that weren't dual wielding. The misses are quite interesting as well. Like, it seems to be, no matter how, I still feel like I miss a lot, even blue mobs who, even blue mobs that. Hey guys, morning. Hope you're well. Yeah, even blue mobs that I've been killing for a few levels, I still seem to miss them quite a lot. I think it goes in cycles though. You kind of get, actually, it's not too bad actually. If you do get cycles of misses, actually saying that, I've been hitting a lot. That's rubbish. On blue, mate, yeah, on blue, yeah. I haven't got it up this morning, but I've had the, normally I've got the PC tunnel cam thing on, but there's absolutely nothing for sale in there at the moment. I know it's off peak time, excuse me, but yeah, it seems to be just the same people who can't sell the stuff they've got. I mean, there's been a bloke there trying to sell a set of ice silk armour. Must be for about 2 or 3 weeks now. Oops. Yeah, so what I might do for tomorrow is make up a list of, well, I'll bring up the wiki and then start at one end and move across to the other end and see what bits I can get. Oh, thanks, mate. Much appreciated. Yeah, I might try and stay on later one day just to see what's there. I mean, I don't, you know, it's not like I'm rolling in cash. I was looking out for stuff that, like the crustacean stuff seemed pretty cheap, so I was looking out for that just to fill in a few slots really. But as I said, I want to do some of the crafted armour quests as well, so I might do a stream tomorrow where I just travel around trying to pick up the bits I need, try and find the gems and stuff. That'll probably be quite interesting. Oh, I've got a 250 there. What's my highest? I wrote my highest hit down the other day. God's name is this MIDI? If the music's too loud, let me know. This one's called Bizarre. Oh, that's probably why I haven't heard it that much before. Even though I did play on TAC P. What's the time? I think, well, I think it's in the evening. There's a NPC in the zone who I can actually sell stuff to. So I'll go and sell these swords in a minute. That was an odd tune, that one. Bind Wound 102. I wonder if people just drop money on Bind Wound just to get it done. Just use all of your training points on it or something. I did get this to drop off of werewolf though. Lupine ruined armband. 3 strength, 3 agility. That's not bad actually. Right, let's just go and have a quick look. So over in the north, where am I? It's not northwest, is it? Okay. So it must be over in the northwest corner. There's a set of buildings, and there's a lady merchant who stands out on her own, and she has been buying from me. But I think there must be 2 of them that change spawn, because when I went there the other day, there was one there that didn't like me. It's only dubious, I think, but there was definitely one there that was indifferent that I was selling the swords to. So let's go and have a look. It might just be what's the time? It's only 5 PM. Check it out. Oh yes, it's these buildings. It's just behind one here. Should have made a note of her name. It's funny, there's a couple of NPCs here as well. Brother Estel, who scowls at me, but there's another one who is just indifferent. Misty Story Swapper is a glare. Gives me a glare. Glowers. Okay, it's definitely not her, so I reckon maybe another one spawns at night. So we'll come back in a couple of hours, see what's what. There was I'm not quite sure what they were doing, but there was a oh, up here, yeah, there's a couple of guys up here. I killed these dudes quite a lot. I'm a shaman, but there was a wizard up there the other day, and they were killing an NPC inside the building, I think, because they weren't. It was a human wizard, level 52 or something. And she must have been killing something in the building, because she wasn't killing the guards. Oh, hello, mate. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think okay, at certain points around the the world, you get the odd vendor that changes and whatnot. Thank you, mate. Much appreciated. Talking about things going on in zones, it's funny how West Karana, people don't really like West Karana because just because it's such a big zone and it appears as though it's quite empty, and I guess it is to a certain extent, but also there's so much going on. There's NPCs running around that are involved in quests and stuff, and yeah, there's a lot more here, I think, than people give it credit for. PAX Day, yeah, I came to the conclusion that PAX Day wasn't really not really my game in the end. Far too much grinding. Disarm's definitely going to be a skill that goes up very slowly. It's interesting. We was talking about feedback loops and stuff for games from a reward, a progression point of view, and how modern indie MMOs have kind of like drastically moved away from that. So like I mean like level 35, it is a hell level. It's not a drastic one, but I'm still getting like 1% XP per kill roughly. You know, the game, even though Everquest is kind of regarded as being grindy and it puts a lot of people off and stuff, there's still like even for someone like myself who's not a massive power gamer, there's still like a constant feedback loop of, you know, well, patting you on the head, like, well done, you're making progress. That's the key thing. I think it's funny how when you talk about the feedback loop from Everquest from a character progression point of view, it almost feels as though it's kind of being lumped in with the same with like if you're playing a more modern MMO, more modern kind of one of the indie classic MMOs, and you talk about progression, then you just people like the really hardcore defenders kind of just assume that you're talking about like you want it all at once. You're talking about WoW type thing, when actually you're just talking about Everquest. But they seem to be oblivious to the fact that Everquest kind of had a really good feedback loop, particularly when you got to like Velius. You know, I mean, as I said before, there's the shaman quest dude over there, wandering spirit. Yeah, if you play if you get onto a vanilla server and you play a Troll Shadow Knight, then it's going to be slow, but still not as slow as kind of the requirement for what we're seeing. But anyway, yes, I don't think I'm the best person to talk about those kind of things anymore. It's not really what people want, you know. And people want either stupid positivity or abject negativity. I don't think there's kind of any room for in between. Are you kind of producing content where the game is amazing and everyone else is just a moany old bastard, or you produce content where you absolutely crucify the product? What I should do actually is run up to the other guards while I've got the thing on. It's a bit of a waste otherwise. So I think I'm probably gonna. I think I'm gonna have to get 2 here. I think until they're split up. I'm not sure if these dudes are slightly. Oh, there is an NPC inside. Okay, so that must have been what the wizard was killing. Look, I'm standing here. What more do you want me to do? Make sure I think I need to get a hit in on both with fawns, don't I? Not that I think the fawns will kill them, pretty much, you know, that much, but. Yeah, so what was my... I'm sure I wrote it down. Yeah, 320 has been my highest crippling blow so far. That's pretty cool. What's the time? 8 PM. Okay, so we're going to see if I can sell the swords and stuff. Oh, that guy's not got a sword. I wonder if I disarmed him. I did, yeah, it fell on the floor. I like that. It's a nice little touch. I've never ever disarmed anyone before in the game. That's quite... that's pretty cool. I'm not sure if these are both the same. I'm guessing like they're kind of like the corrupt... Like there's a... You got the corrupt guards and the not corrupt guards, I think. Is it the Blood Sabers faction? I'm not sure. I know that... well, anyone knows who's done the Null Fang quest in Kenos that I think I was surprised on a ranger once where I think it's the guard, like the super like undercon, well I say undercon, like the super powered guard. Is it Lieutenant Daggerrock, who's like a Shadow Knight, and yeah, I think I was handing... I'm just going to get rid of some of this stuff. I'm not sure anyone else does this, but I collect stuff, even if it's absolutely of no use to me. Like if it's like something unique or interesting or whatever. So he dropped his sword, didn't he? Let's pick that up. Stop it. Yeah, so I think Justyn is lying on his sword there. He's literally fallen on his sword. I can't pick it up. Oh, whatever. Yeah, like I was rangering in Blackburrow and just must have handed in like hundreds of Null Fangs, and then I was running around and Lieutenant Daggerrock just one-shot me as I was running towards the gate. I never made that mistake again. I kind of hand some in, and oh yeah, Silna Weaver. I hand some in and then keep checking to see what the faction is. I kind of get them to like dubious, and then I stop doing it. You can make some reasonable plat over here as well. I like picking stuff up and then looking on the wiki later on just to see what it was for, like just to see what, and yeah, I kind of learn a lot about what quests are available. There's a guard here who's kindly considers me. Wow. Is he like a corrupt guard or something? Yeah, I always forget about that command. Should do that. Yeah, interesting. There's a guard that's kind. Yeah, there's lots of NPCs running around. They seem to run backwards and forwards between the watchtowers and the guard towers and stuff. And they've got these really weird, interesting names. They all seem to be knights or something of some sort. They're all human males with in plate armor. Need to go and look at some quests at some point. There are a lot of quests in Everquest. Yeah. I think I mentioned this before, but it's also... Archery seems quite an interesting thing. I know I've said this already before, but I was watching a... I was watching a stream of a troll warrior on red, Chewy, and he was using I think it was a weighted axe and a bow. He was doing quite a lot of damage. I do like to see the, yeah, my enemies slaughtered around me, and the lamentation of their women, or whatever it is. Might be the wrong word. And I think, yeah, because I think I was reading, I'm not quite sure exactly how it works, how the maths work, but I think the damage from a bow, from your bow, is tied to the damage or ratio of your main-handed weapon. So you want like a main-handed weapon with a silly delay ratio or something like that. Anyway, do you know, I've been enjoying the warrior more than any other class I played recently. I think it's because at the moment it's easy, but also like quite subtly complex as well. There's actually quite a lot of buttons to click, particularly when you're leveling up skills. Was that was both the guards there? Let's run over to the other one then, shall we? Oh, we can. There's a werewolf that I was killing because I thought it dropped a quest item, but in the end it didn't. I don't think it is. Maybe it is in one of the zones, I'm not sure, but I thought I was, for a little while when I was trying to find the werewolves, I was keeping an eye on those plate armored NPCs that were running around, because I thought it would be really cool, like, thematically, if, oh, blimey. They spawned fast, didn't they? If one of those turned into a werewolf at night, I thought that would have been pretty cool. Okay, we'll see if we can we'll wait until we I think guard Assen seemed to be less sturdy, so let's see if we can burn him down first. You can actually crit and crippling blow with a bow as well, I think, as a warrior. I've definitely done a crit with a bow, which is pretty cool. You also get those kind of like frustrating crits and crippling blows as well, where you do like 15 crippling, you cripple blow 15 damage or something. That can be that's always a disappointment. I should probably not kill him so quick, just to split them up a bit, but whatever. Yeah, I mean Justyn's definitely higher than the guards at the other camps. He's 80, like the highest guard at the other camp. His max hit was 65, as it looks like guard Justyn's max hit is 80. That's a fair bit higher. I need to check to see if I disarm him, then if his maximum hits go down, it might do. He's a monster, this guy. Let's get a nice crippling blow in. Woohoo! There we go, 163. Better hit him. That was a real fight to the death, that was. Nice. Adrenaline fueled, that one. I spent so much time coming here handing in stuff to the Wandering Spirit for the Shame and Epic stuff. I'm just doing just for the faction, really. It's pretty crazy. I guess I could have run around there a bit. I think because I was below 20%, like he wouldn't run away. But if you've got some sort of regen, just kite them around until you get to 20%. Then they generally, well, in my experience, they will then turn and flee. Thanks for the buffs again, mate. Yeah, who's this dude? Haberstash Gickin. He's one that runs through here quite a bit. He will attack you if you're sitting down. Yeah. I did one shot him though when he did that once before. One of these guards walks through the wall. Oh, there he is. So it's weird, something funny's happened with the critical hits. I'm not quite sure what it is, but when I was doing critical hits before, the critical hit value was the same as the damage I was doing. But there was a critical hit there of 219, but it actually came up as doing 225 damage. I'm not sure if that's if that is like bonus, like my bonus damage as a warrior or something or whatever. I'm not sure. I should probably try and well, I think I'm only one level behind. I keep meaning to, well, I'm trying to keep up with one-handed slashing, but like my two-handed weapons have far outstripped the one-handed stuff I've got. Too far away to disarm. It's always cool looking at the guards' armor for each race that you can't emulate. I always thought it would have been quite cool though if they would have given that out as like a prize in some way for something, so you could look like a guard. I guess you can adopt the shield, but that's about it really. Like I always like the ogre guard, the helmet the ogre guards have got, but I'm pretty sure you can't get that as a player. Hey, we've outstripped the Swiftfoot. Is she a ranger or something? I wonder if she's not on any faction. You can just kill her. I don't know. I think you should be able to see pretty well now. I was glad I found that that filter for OBS, so I can increase the gamma so you can see. I reckon you might one of those camps where you kind of just come here and you it's nice, like a dad camp as they call them, where you kind of just set your timer, you kill her, and come back again. Yeah, I'd like to have a Kenos set of armour, breastplate. That would be cool. Yeah, it's interesting. Like I think, like Ultravision. I think I don't think there are too many items with Ultravision on, are there? I think maybe some of them are class locked, and I think maybe there is one or two. But I think I did have a look into it. But there's a couple that seem to be quite expensive items. A few weeks ago, I forgot all my passwords on TACP, so I had to. I kind of went for, I think I changed all the passwords, but now a few weeks later I've kind of forgotten them again. But not for a while, right? No, I'm thinking about it now. I've kind of got back into Everquest again. It's a weird one with TACP because it's a sort of server where, like for me, for the times I play and other circumstances, as I've said a lot many times before, it's sort of server where I can definitely do a lot more. But yeah, I don't know. It wasn't a deal breaker, but I didn't like the way the camera worked. Not that it's a problem when you can box, but it's also I think the server has slowly got much quieter. Oh, I got a couple of ripostes. I think ripostes can miss though. I try to match up the riposte sometimes, see how much damage I'm doing on a riposte, but this guy's a brute, Justyn. He absolutely. Little taste of the Caribbean in this this tune. Was this the tune? Was this like the Carrot Isle tune or something? I can't remember. But the answer is not for a while. But yeah, I'm kind of considering it. How's it going over there? Are you playing over there, mate? Is it still pretty... I did start a new trio over there a while ago. I think they're all sitting in Kern's Tower at the moment. It does sound a bit like Monkey Island. I'll have a look in a minute to see what. See if it tells me what it is. Cobalt Scar, it says, is the description of this tune. It might be actually, because I'm sure I was over in. I'm sure I was over in a zone somewhere at some point. I thought to myself, this music doesn't match the zone at all. It's very weird. If anyone who's watching the actual gameplay and the bobbing camera is giving you a headache, let me know and I'll zoom out. Land of Bilkin, a different one. I'm not sure if these guys. There's another one of those NPCs that runs between the guard towers. I'm not sure if they change based on time of day, but you do get there's two or three different ones that come backwards and forwards. I picked up a broom and some other bits and pieces when I was in Kazakh Fall the other day. That's a nightmare, that dungeon. Holy smoke. It's so easy to die in a really horrible place. There's a werewolf. He's green, but I don't want to pull him if I don't have to. I'll say the last one was green, yep. Yes, me and the wife have been speaking about it quite a lot. I mean, I won't be voting for Labour or Conservative. I mean, I never vote for Conservative anyway, but I can't vote for Labour as in their current form. So I'll probably vote against I'll probably vote against what is culturally currently the norm, because that has always been my political stance. Vote against what the current norm is, because someone needs to push back against something. Certainly, like Labour are not doing that. The Labour have barely been an opposition, really. I think it was the COVID stuff that really got to me. How they were all so complicit in what was going on. And I mean that kind of like outside of what was scientifically correct or not. Just the fact that whatever's right or wrong, there should be some opposition to something. No. I just believe that anything dominant culturally or politically should be pushed back against. There should be some opposition, I guess, is what I was saying. And Labour have not offered any opposition. They've been just pretty complicit in just following whatever seems to be the most popular, I'm generally just anti-establishment, because establishments become too comfortable, they become too dominant, and in the UK anyway, the current the establishment, although idiots like the BBC still try to convince you that the establishment is conservative, it's really not. The establishment in the UK at the moment is a very liberal, woke establishment culturally, and I think that any establishment should be pushed back against this, because then you've got a situation where that group can just do and implement whatever they want, and there's no when I was growing up, it was, voting Conservative in my house, because I come from a very poor working class background. Voting Conservative was there were two things that were illegal: voting Conservative and supporting Tottenham Hotspur, essentially. And I, you know, no matter how I felt when you, I mean, it's a bit of a generalisation, but I'm a firm believer in. I'm not sure if Winston Churchill originally coined it, but Winston Churchill said that if you're not liberal in your 20s, you're a moron, and if you're not conservative in your 50s, you're a moron. And I tend to agree with that to a certain extent. Because as you get older, you do lose some of the ideals that you had when you were younger, because you realise ultimately it was just that they were too idealistic and not a reality of actually supporting children and paying a mortgage and stuff like that. But yeah, I've always voted Labour, but certainly over the last few years, I can't bring myself to vote for them. I mean, maybe the issue is that you only hear. It's a bit like in the UK. Here in the UK, yeah, we hear the same things from America, essentially all the time, on mainstream media. Trump's this and that, and Biden is like the second coming. And then when you look into it, you see that. I mean, Trump might be whatever, this, that, and the other, but Biden is not the second coming. He's as big a moron as the other guy. Well, that's how it's portrayed here, anyway. In the same way that, you know, in the UK, a lot of people seem to have the impression that, you know, there are gangs roaming every street. US streets with guns and stuff, and it's like the Wild West. And I'm sure the reality for people living in America day to day is it's probably not like that. Maybe in some cities and states, you know, like there's certain things you kind of think, well, it's just a bit of an exaggeration, really. But a friend recently went to an American city, and she said it actually was like some of the footage she'd seen. In videos and stuff, where she was walking along the street and there were people on, I can't remember what the drug is, but there were people on the drug, literally like almost like defying physics by being like folded in half but still standing up, like, you know, like actual real life zombies. She said she saw a lot of that in this. I can't remember what city it was. Yeah, but I mean, I mean, you know, back in my 20s, you know, I was very militant left wing. But irrespective of what we were militant about back then, on the left, you know, we always realised that that Labour was created for working class people. That was the whole thing behind its concept, you know, and its creation. And I don't, and that's why I can't vote for them now, because I don't think that's what it is anymore. I don't think it represents those people. In fact, I think there's a certain, you kind of hear the term quite a lot. You hear the term quite a lot, liberal elite, which I think is probably a term that's overused. Probably a bit like as woke as a word is overused. But I do think that there is some justification in that. I think that's what Labour has become quite a lot of the time. I mean, I live in Margate in Kent, and the road that I live on has got like massive big houses that you know, I guess thankfully haven't been turned into multiple occupancies, with just one family living in them and stuff, and they've got like vote Labour signs outside, and they can vote for whoever they want at the end of the day. But I find it quite weird that you go to a poor working class area and you don't see vote Labour signs. You know, it just feels, I don't know. Well, I'm very jealous, I have to say, mate. Myself and my wife's got some close Italian friends because she used to go there every year. And like we've kind of talked about living there. We went as far as like looking at properties and stuff. But I guess with Brexit, it's kind of harder now. I'm not quite sure. What how you qualify now to move to Europe if you want to. Oh, I wonder what it was. Like a fire. There was suddenly a light appeared in the a light appeared in the tower, and what was that? It was a fire beetle walking through. That was pretty cool. Yeah, but I mean, I hope you enjoy it because Italy is a country that we would like to move to. My wife particularly. I've been there a few times. It's an amazing country. It's quite hot. I don't do very well. Actually, weirdly, like I've never been someone who's a typical Englishman, I guess. There's a certain point that's just too hot, and it's not even really too hot. It's kind of like mid-20s, and I'm starting to think, whew. But weirdly, like my health improves a lot when I'm in a hotter, drier climate. So yeah, we haven't been for a long time, but we used to go to we used to go and stay in the same place, and next door there was a guy called Eduardo, and he lived on his own, and he owned all the surrounding land, and it was just olive trees. He had his own massive olive grove, and you'd see him out there, we'd watch him using those big nets to get all the olives shake all the olives off into the nets and stuff. Make sure you get some air conditioning though. In that, it's going to be hot in Rome, in the summer, I would imagine. I think there's a couple of places online that apparently kind of help you, and I'm not 100% sure. I kind of got the impression that if you buy a place there and you go and spend some time staying there, then maybe it becomes easier to sort of move there permanently. I'm not sure. But I guess it's something to do with maybe how much money you've got, savings and income and all that kind of thing. Oh yeah, I mean that helps a lot, yeah. So she's lived here with you then since you were married, mate, is she? Is that there? I'm being a bit nosy there, aren't I? Probably a good way round. What is a good way round of doing it. But I guess a lot of people do. You know, you go and experience something different when you're younger, and then go back when, yeah, why not? Oh, nice. I'm Cockney. I'm a Cockney. But I kind of met, like we met, God, blimey. Like we've been together about 30 years now, probably. So I kind of moved out of London in my mid-20s, I guess it was, which would have been like mid-90s. Bow Bells, yeah, yeah. I was engaged to a girl from Dagenham in Essex when I was, well, I guess like, I killed these two guards. I think so. Yeah, when I was late teens, early 20s. Let's run back. Can't remember if I killed both of those ones or not. Basildon, yeah, a lot of. I worked in a comic and game shop in Barking for a few years, and we used to get some people coming in from Basildon. And I think Basildon was one of those areas where uh, working class Londoners who kind of did quite well for themselves, I think in the 60s and 70s, kind of moved out to places like Basildon and those kind of things, those kind of areas. Yeah, I think a lot of Basildon residents all came from London, and around those Essex areas. Yeah, whew. I was hovering over the ban button there, mate. Yeah, I mean, my mum never moved out of East London, essentially. She's been there all her life. She did come to live near us for a short time, but it was only like a year or two. She just went back. When I was first sick, she came and stayed with us for a while to help out. But yeah, she's never moved out of London. This guy Justyn dude is an absolute monster. Yeah, I didn't like. I have to confess, I didn't. I don't think we were as bad as. I mean, look, Lee Dixon, like, you know, he's an Arsenal legend, but I didn't agree with him. The fact that we were awful. I thought in the second half we really put a lot of effort in, and you know, they were saying we didn't deserve to go through. Well, I'm not sure about that. I mean, it's easy to say the small teams, oh, plucky small team, they deserve to go through, but I mean, I did think that we used to. I did think that we had a go, and we put the effort in. The quality's not there, obviously, for whatever reason, but I thought we put the effort in, which is it's all you can ask at the moment when the performances are not particularly good. But we'll have to be better against Switzerland. But I think we probably will be. You know, I used to go to West Ham because it was like I couldn't afford to get up to Arsenal that much. So I used to go to West Ham because it was literally like I could walk there really from where we were. Back in the day, Trevor Brooklyn, Frank Lampard Senior. You used to be able to turn up for the last 20 minutes and they'd let you in for free, which was pretty cool. Yeah, I'm like watching the game last night though. I'm not quite sure whether it's a tactical formation thing or if it's just the players are just not gelling that well together. I mean, you know, I can't watch the punditry anymore because I can't believe that that people like Rio Ferdinand and Alan Shearer and what was it, one half of the Chuckle Brothers, whatever his name is. I can't believe how much money they must get paid for just talking sentences that almost seem like they're written down for them. And even Ian Wright, again, another Arsenal legend, saying, you know, what they need to do in the next game is bring this guy in. And then you bring this guy in and it's the same. And then they'll say, oh, yeah, so you need to bring this guy in. Well, you know. I think the thing is that they're young, you know, and it's really difficult. I mean, you could say that, you know, Foden and Saka and Kane obviously is the most senior player, like, and Bellingham and stuff need to get together and say, look, guys, we just need to be doing better than what we are. But you know, it's not as simple as that. I'm not saying we've been fantastic, but you know. I'm really annoyed that there's absolutely no replacement for Rice either. I mean, Rice is going to be run into the ground before the new season starts. It's ridiculous that it's ridiculous they can't give him a rest or take him off. I mean, Southgate took us to the final, didn't he? You know, and we lost to Italy. And that's the first final we've been in for ever, I think. You know, Italy not so great shakes this tournament, but they were, you know, they were easily the best team in the tournament where they beat us in the final. It was the final, wasn't it? So I think Southgate's done a lot. I just think that he's. I don't know. I think he's done a lot from from a point of view of the cohesiveness of the group, and not on the pitch but off the pitch. You know. Hey Crow, how you doing, Necro? Bob, hope you're all well. Well, yeah, there's certainly, you know, something that is quite annoying. You just, you know, even when you're watching football, you can't, like, I mean, you know, I mean, surely these guys must have realised what football was like in the 70s and 80s. You know, it really is completely different from a, you know, an acceptance point of view, or whatever you want to call it. Yeah, okay, mate. Yeah. We had a brief spurt of summer here for a few days. It's kind of gone again. Summer shows its head every now and again, and it goes and hides. Now, I've disarmed these dudes, haven't I? I don't know. I thought for a short period, I thought the Spain-Georgia was going to be one of those big shocks, but I think Spain's just too good, aren't they? Can't get the ball from them. At one point, I don't know who it was, the commentator said to the other dude, why are England are supposed to be the favourites, who, I don't know who made them favourites, probably the press who are now moaning about them. But they said, why are England not playing like this? Well, because it's Spain. And it's not... Technically, it's not how we've learned to play football in the UK. Why are we not playing football like Spain? Honestly, not bad. It's one of those nice camps, isn't it? Here, where you just yeah, you can just potter, you can just sit around, can't you? You can get up and go and do something, come back again. Proper Everquest camp, this one, I think. Well, I think punditry logic is Bellingham plays for Real Madrid. Saka's had a good season. Foden's had a good season, so that equals, you know, that equals we must be like Spain. So. Is that what you call it? Soccer ball over there? A soccer ball? I guess you would do, yeah. Yeah, well, I kind of, well, I kind of suppose we've really got the, I mean, we've got the dibs on football, really, considering football was invented quite some time before even the American Civil War. Was it the Civil War? Was it the Independence? 1870s, whatever it was. Yeah, so I think we've kind of got dibs on the football side of it. I like gridiron. It's funny because there was a bloody hell. God, Justyn he's actually level range goes up to even. It's got this Justyn's even con. This is going to be fun. Come on, Justyn, me and you. See if I can disarm him. American football was really big in the, I think it was the 80s into the 90s, because Channel 4 had an American football show on. So it kind of got, we do use a lot of feet. There's a lot of feet involved. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but I don't, there doesn't seem to be a part. I think Sky has some on, but I guess Sky has every sport on, if you pay them enough. Throw ball. Yeah, that sounds a bit rubbish, doesn't it? It's time for some throw ball. It's quite fun times. It's quite fun sometimes watching like American YouTubers reacting to things, and quite often they react to rugby. And obviously it's all about, you know, engagement and clickbaity kind of screen, you know, images and stuff. But yeah, I generally find it quite surprising that the game is played without armour. But then actually, I think I'll whisper it, but I'm not sure if I might prefer the armour actually. I played rugby at school and it's not much fun. Someone running full speed into you. Yeah, not a lot of fun at all. But then I was a kid, so. Yeah, particularly when like every school's got one or two kids who are like, you know, they're 13, 14, but they really should be bouncers on a door nightclub somewhere. You know, they're 13, 14 and they weigh 12 stone already. It's not much fun. Not much fun. Yeah. Is centre essentially what it sounds like? Is it the centre of the line, basically, the lineup? I mean, when I watched American football, I used to enjoy it. I liked it tactically. I liked the whole having to move 10 yards in 4 tries kind of thing, and how you work that and whatnot. I liked all that. There were some people that never got it though, for some reason. Not quite sure why. So what, you need to move 10 yards and you got 4 goes? Yeah, then what happens after that? Well, if you move 10 yards, then you get another 4 goes to move another 10 yards. And you've got to try and get it to the end. I've killed both. I keep forgetting if I've killed both guards here or not before I run back. Yeah, there was. I think it was definitely like 80s, early 90s, where Channel 4 kind of popularised American football, and we had some teams come over and played at Wembley and all that kind of thing. But it didn't last us very long. And I'm sure there are people that play. I'm sure there are people that play baseball in the UK, but I've never seen baseball at all on what you would call like terrestrial TV. Even on Sky Sports, I don't. Maybe you get it. I'm not sure. I don't notice. But yeah, baseball was never a thing. You only really score though during a segment of possession though, don't you? So if you touch down or you kick points, then the other team then take over, I guess, which is similar to how football works. A lot of sports I loved when I was like in the 80s and 90s. I don't watch anymore. Like I used to love snooker. I used to obsess about snooker. I used to play a lot of snooker as well. But then snooker was like back in those days, you'd have like Alex Higgins coming out, who was literally like drunk while he was playing. But now it's like most things, it's very sanitised. Oh yeah, they can take it off you during play, yeah, but you. Ooh, Justyn's even con again. They're upgrading Justyn to try and get me. Yeah, darts as well. But that was at a time where you had real characters playing darts and snooker. Whereas I watched a bit of the most recent World Championships, but everyone's very clean cut and, you know, nice. It's not what it was. Not like it was when you had your Eric Bristows and your John Lowe's and your Jockey Wilsons and Alex Higgins and. The problem with a lot of sport over in the UK now, I guess it's maybe the same in the US, is whereas, you know, back in the day, all of these things were televised on just your standard terrestrial TV channels. It's all behind paywalls now. Boxing was another one that I enjoyed a lot, but yeah, stopped watching it. I guess it's very much of your time, isn't it? Like when I was watching boxing, it was Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, Marvin Hagler, Tommy Hearns, Frank Bruno, Mike Tyson. I don't know if they're. guess now we've got, I mean, I can't remember his name. I'm not a big fan of the big English bloke who got beat by, who did he get beat by? Not, was it Klitschko or something? No, it wasn't Klitschko, was he? Got beat by someone recently, didn't he? Which was, I thought, was quite a surprise. Okay, mate, thanks for the buffs, much appreciated. I remember watching the Marvin Hagler Thomas Hearns fight, where literally from the first bell they just came out. And they were determined just to knock shit out of each other. It was an astonishing fight. Tyson Fury, that's the bloke, yeah. So I quite like him. At least he's got some personality. But I was surprised he got beat by that bloke, though. I know the other bloke's supposed to be pretty good, but there seemed to be a massive size difference between the two of them. He did get beat, didn't he? Or am I imagining it? Yeah, I'll never forget that Hagler Hearns fight though. Roberto Duran was my favourite though. I used to really like the technical boxers who. If you like boxing, you've never seen that fight before. It must be on YouTube. Marvin Hagler versus Thomas Hearns. Absolute. I'm not sure if it's the same in the US, but I kind of feel that maybe it wouldn't be. But unfortunately in the UK, sport has been taken over by this very kind of liberal thing. This guy, you know, I guess you'd have to use the woke word. Annoys everyone. And like football particularly, they keep going on about how racist everyone is in the stands and how it's not accepting and whatnot, and how bad everyone is, and you just get it rammed down your throat every time there's a game on. It's quite annoying. You got ex-football commentators from the 70s and the 80s like making out they give a shit about diversity or whatever it is. It's pretty cringy. What are the commentators like? What are the pundits like in America? I'm assuming they're ex-players. In the UK, there's definitely a thing that someone once said, and it's just because you used to do something professionally, it doesn't mean that you can talk about it intelligently, and that is basically goes for nearly every football pundit. Essentially cannot talk about football in an intelligent way. Absolutely, that they read lines that I think actually some of them are written down for them. Yeah, I mean that's the same across a lot of white Western world at the moment. Yeah, I'm not sure what they're like in. I'm not sure what it's like in America. Yeah, but I mean, you know, and they're getting paid millions, so why wouldn't you do it? But you know, these are people who just cannot. They can't literally barely string a sentence together. Some of them, And it's clear some of what they're saying it has been written down for them, and they're just repeating it, or they're repeating what they've heard someone else say. It's a shame because, I mean, I really want to hear some good tactical analysis at half time, but it's just these ex-players who just cannot. And it's not their fault, you know, but I guess I'm not sure who else you would you would hire for the job, really. Yeah. And it does pain me to say it because some of them are ex-Arsenal players, but, you know, that doesn't mean that you... I think the only one who seems to be popular in the UK is Roy Keane, because he will, if someone's shit, he'll say that they were shit, essentially. I think because he's controversial, I think it's the only reason that people like him. The last 3 spawns of Justyn have been even con. I'm sure he was blue before. Maybe I missed it. He's a monster though. Strangely, he was actually, I thought, the fairest to England yesterday. Like the English players, ex-players, were just going with the general, oh, we were shit kind of thing, just copying what everyone else has been saying. Essentially, they just go with the current popular, you know, opinion. So at least he said that we actually put some effort in, and. I wonder if in America, do you kind of get the equivalent of like financial, I don't know anything you could call it, like financial doping, really? Like when you look at like Man City and what's happened there. And they've got like over 100 charges of financial irregularities laid against them that they're going to tie up in the courts for years, so nothing ever comes of it. I guess you must get that in America as well. I know baseball players particularly get paid a lot of money, don't they? Like the big guys, the big players. And of course you've had the joy of watching Messi, I suppose, if you're into soccer ball in America this season. Is football big on TV? Do you get much of it? Or is it still a fairly minor sport? I guess still a fairly minor sport. I know there's American leagues, aren't there? But I think David Beckham's got his own team, isn't he? There, which is. No worries, mate. I've got some. I made some, but I'm kind of saving them. And actually, I've quite enjoyed. Sometimes I'm like, I've quite enjoyed running around, just slow ogre running to get to places. I've been running backwards and forwards from Ogok without Sal. It's just it's a different experience, really, isn't it? From being football's not big there at all. No. I think sometimes people want to give an impression of something, don't they? Where it's something. It's more than what it is. It's like over the last few years, there's been a big push for women's football, and they try to give the impression that it's really popular, but it's kind of not. Like outside of Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, and the England team, you know, like the other ladies' teams have hardly anyone showing up. Yeah, and I guess Messi maybe going to play in America is probably not a big thing. Probably David Beckham going over there is probably a bigger thing than Messi, I would imagine. Is baseball or football bigger, or do they kind of trade blows? Baseball, I'm not sure, but baseball grounds seem to hold less people, but maybe that's because they're kind of generally all up one end, one arch, or whatever it may be. About the same. Yeah, I think it's very much like I think the dominant sports are always going to be ones that have been around longest culturally, I suppose. Trying to introduce a fairly new sport to a country, is always going to be a struggle. That's probably why American football and baseball never took off over here. You actually do get teams play them. You do get people play them. And I know of like American football. I know that there's like some smaller leagues where like amateurs play and stuff. But yeah, I imagine Messi's making a fortune at is he at David Beckham's team? I think so. Must be making a fortune there. But I imagine that's propped up by. Either the owner of the club or advertising, is it? I suppose it can't be the crowds or whatever. Yeah, I don't watch the women's football, but then I don't really watch any of low league's men's football either. To be honest with you, if I'm going to watch football, I kind of want to watch the very best kind of football I can watch. So I don't, there was a thing recently where they were trying to guilt trip men into watching women's football by calling them misogynists if you didn't watch it. But it's really not, it's got nothing to do with that. It's just, I don't even watch the Championship football. I watch the Premier League or I watch the Champions League. Or international, tournaments and things, and that's pretty much it. It's funny watching someone like Messi turn up in America though and play, and then you watch him playing. And he literally seems like another being in comparison. Of course he would. I guess it's a bit like someone who plays American football in the UK going to America and playing football. But he literally looks like he's from another planet in comparison to all the other players. I still follow the Premiership a lot, but I must confess it got to a point where like quite a while ago when the money thing started happening was where I kind of loved Arsenal but I hated football, and I'm kind of still a bit around that, where I still follow Arsenal because it's kind of been ingrained in me since I was a kid, but football as a whole I just don't think it's in a particularly good spot. It might be doing as well as it's ever done financially, but it's really not a great spot, I don't think, morally or culturally. There's so much football as well for the players to play. I've done it before. It's easy to say, oh, this guy's getting paid £1 million a week. He should be running around. But, you know, I think there is a certain welfare thing. Thank you for the buffs. Tax idiots to Pantos. Much appreciated, mate. Do you know what? I love ice hockey, but generally in the UK, there's you just don't see it. It's not a game that they put on. But I always, at the Winter Olympics, I always make sure I watch the ice hockey. And I remember watching, I think it was probably Slapshot, the film. Was it back in the 80s? Where they were always having a ruck? I love that show. I love that film, I should say. It was really cool. Right, might have to kill Assen and then maybe zone Justyn. Is he even con? Yeah. I might take a battering here. You know, see, ice hockey in America, I thought it would have been popular. I know that like Russia and some of the northern and eastern European countries have got good teams and things, and they're really into it. I think the winter game that we favour in the UK, and it's mostly because of the Scots, is curling. I think that's the thing that we go in for the most. We used to be really good at figure skating, actually, but I don't think so much now. Not that I followed it since the Torval and Dean days. But, yeah, I always loved a bit of ice hockey. Nice quick game. I like a bust up, although I guess maybe they don't do it as much as they used to. Yeah, but that is a game that that is a sport that I do follow when the Winter Olympics come around. Ice hockey, I do like it. There we go. I managed to disarm Justyn, I think it was. I do enjoy watching curling. I kind of enjoy the tactics of it mostly, but sometimes there are just things I don't understand. It's kind of, I mean, obviously I've never played the game, but it's a bit like, I used to like Crown Green bowling back in the day. There's a player called, I think his name was David Bryant, and he was the champion at the time, and he used to play with a pipe. He had a bit of a Gandalf vibe to him. I think that's probably why I liked it. And I played, when I went to France, I played a lot of balls. I liked a game of balls as well in France. It's pretty cool. Yeah, when I generally like for winter sports, ice hockey, curling. I do enjoy the speed track stuff as well. But I like this. I like the cycling at the standard Olympics as well, which is coming up soon, isn't it? There's certain skating sports, again, I think it's the same as cycling, or I guess I just don't understand it mechanically or physically, but where they'll do, it's a 10-lap race and they do 9 laps just going really, really slowly, and then there's a sprint for the last lap. I can't think to myself, well, maybe just have 2 laps, you know. go slowly for a lap, then sprint for the... I understand it's all about positioning for that last sprint and all that kind of thing, but it's a strange concept to have a race where you just go slow, basically, until the last lap. I used to follow the Tour de France a bit as well, but not so much. I used to watch a bit of the Italian one as well. I used to be into cycling quite a lot, so I guess, you know, when I was cycling, I was more into it. I used to love BMXing as well. I remember BMX was one of those... I'll always remember getting a BMX for Christmas when I was a kid. It was, as I said before, we were very poor, so getting a BMX was an achievement from a poor mum, I'm sure. And then they used to like films in the 80s that had BMXs in. Yeah. And then of course you had the film that was... There was a film called BMX Bandits, I think, wasn't there? Which was pretty hilarious. Yeah, Giro d'Italia was... I enjoy watching it. I must confess, like with the Summer Olympics, I pretty much watch a lot of stuff. Like I like the sprinting, long distance running, bit of javelin, discus, anything really. Do you know what, mate? I was sitting here thinking BMX ET. I always think of it as well, yeah. Whenever I watch an American film and you see like an old traditional arcade as well, always makes me think of being a teenager. We didn't really have those kind of like arcades that you got at malls or shopping centres and things really in the UK. Like traditionally, if you wanted to play games in an arcade, you went to the seaside essentially. That's where all the arcades were. I worked in London in the 90s on Tottenham Court Road, and there was a specialist arcade. I'm not sure if it's still there, but there was a specialist arcade on Tottenham Court Road, and they used to get fighting games in there before they were released, like just to test run them. So like your Street Fighters and your Virtual Fighters and that kind of thing. I used to go in there and watch, not play much. I used to play a lot of Street Fighter on the Super Famicom, but I can never sit down with someone in an arcade and play and have other people watching. Well, as a kid, our holidays, we went to somewhere called... we always went to stay in a caravan called... There's a place called Laysdown, which was a place on an island that sounds a bit more posh, called the Isle of Sheppey. I'm not quite sure why we went there, because Margate and Southend were closer to us, but I think it was just a place where we went traditionally. And I'd save up loads of 10p's before we went, and I would spend, as you can imagine, I'd spent no time on the beach and spent all of my time in the arcades. In fact, one holiday I went and I discovered Dragon's Lair, and I spent all of my money learning Dragon's Lair. And people would stand around watching. There was a football game. There was a football game that was murder on your hands because it had a roller ball, and you rolled the ball in the different directions to move your player. And the quicker you rolled the ball, the faster your player moved. I discovered Gauntlet there on holiday. We put a lot of 10p's into Gauntlet. It's funny, a lot of memories of that place. I met my first girlfriend there as well, and also I was there. I was on holiday there when the first time that Bruno fought Tyson. It's funny the things you remember, isn't it? You go on these nostalgia trips. I hate that Justyn. He's an absolute monster. He must be an undercon. Yeah, you had to go to a holiday resort on a beach in the UK pretty much to get an arcade, to play arcade games. Certainly, as far as I was, like, you couldn't go to the high street or a shopping centre and they'd be there in the UK. They were all at the seaside, and like, all the arcade shops, whatever you want to call them, they were like almost like chains. So whatever seaside resort you went to, you'd see the same arcades and stuff. Do some little bit of mind wounding. I used to get terribly car sick as a kid as well. I don't at all now. I haven't done for decades, but when I was a kid I used to get terrible car sick, and we'd have to keep pulling over. Yeah, I hated that. I had a phobia about being sick as a kid, and I don't like it now, actually. I'd rather be in pain, I think, than... Yeah, Southend we didn't go as much to, weirdly, even though we were very near to it. And Margate, of course, was very near, but we never really went to Margate. Brighton we never went to, but Brighton's always been posher and more expensive, so that's probably why. But Southend Pier, yeah, I think it's the longest pier in the UK, isn't it? Or the longest kind of working pier kind of thing. I think unfortunately there was a period, obviously, you know, they died because people started going on package holidays abroad, but there's a period where the British seaside towns just went downhill quite a lot. I think you got more crime and, you know, teen violence and stuff. Used to be the longest in the world, huh? Grebin Snezdtop. Yeah, whoever came up with some of these names, it must have just gone through a randomizer for some of them. I do really like them. But he's about the third different NPC that runs towards this guard tower and runs away again. I'm going to have to look later to see. To see if they're part of any quests and stuff. Yeah, I mean, Margate, where I live now, it's kind of been gentrified. So we've got a load of hipsters moved in. It became kind of trendy when they opened the gallery. And now you've got the old town where you've got all these trendy restaurants and stuff, and cafes and things and whatever. Yeah, it's still all about the haves and have-nots, though. The have-nots in the area don't do any better because it's been gentrified, you know, because the the hipsters will only go to the old town and spend their money in the same places, you know, and stuff. So I should go and sell my swords at some point before the sun stays up. Yeah, I mean, if you come to Margate to visit for the day and you're down at the front and stuff, where you've still got, unfortunately, arcades now are not the same as what they were. It's full of grab machines and dance. You don't get any real games anymore, unfortunately, apart from maybe a big Sega or Namco one where you shoot dinosaurs or something. But yeah, if you come down for the day, and it's a nice place to be. You know, a lot of nice food and drink and places to look at and stuff. And yeah, I mean, I literally live probably the 10 or 15 minute walk from the beach. But it's still it's still an area where there's a lot of poverty and you know, and whatnot. But I guess like any area. But it is nice. Yeah, it's really nice. We went to the gallery a couple of times when it opened, but we haven't been since. Of course, they've managed to keep the Dreamland going, and Dreamland's had a couple of big gigs, a couple of big concerts, people coming to play. I can't remember what the last one was. There was a recent gig on where a big pop star or something came to play. I can't remember who it was. But yeah, you got the Dreamland fun fair and stuff that's still going. They filmed a film in Margate as well last year. The main front bit was cornered off for some filming and stuff. I think What's Her Face was in it. She's like the new Judi Dench, where she's in everything. Anything British, she's in it. What's her name? I mean, I used to really like her, but I can't remember her name. Did she play the Queen in one of those series? I can't remember her name, but she's literally in everything at the moment. I mean, when I lived and worked in London, I did at the time. I mean, I was in my 20s at the time, so I loved it. You know, I used to work. I used to work on around Oxford Circus Way, so I'd come out, and there was so much just to wander around and see and do after work. Wander up to Chinatown and experience all that stuff, and yeah. Since moving out of London, though, I've very rarely been back. Very rarely. Yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong if you're looking for history or culture. Going to London, you can't go wrong, really. I used to enjoy just wandering around looking at all the architecture from different periods. Who was that I killed? That was Justyn I killed. Okay, so I think let's go and get rid of these swords. And yeah, I don't think Tottenham's a particularly great area. Again, I think like everywhere though, there's a certain amount of gentrification that's gone on. I mean, where I come from in East London, it's like it's been so overbuilt with expensive flats and all sorts of things. So I go back and visit my mum now and again when I'm feeling more up to it, and yeah, it's kind of unrecognisable, really. Yeah, I mean, like, back when I worked in London, I guess I had what you would call a typical kind of working in London lifestyle, really. I could leave work and like we'd go to the pub for a drink somewhere, and then Then we'd go somewhere to eat, you know, all that kind of stuff. Maybe go and see a band or something. The tubes were horrific though, and I can only imagine that they must be even worse now. Travelling on them every day was a real, blimey, used to drain you, mentally just drain you. I used to go to I used to go to Camden and places like that, to clubs, buying a load of goth tat in the shops that they used to sell, and it really was tat. Yeah. Yeah, and used to go to like the Astoria 2, I guess it would be, in London and whatnot. There's another one as well. I think Slime Lights, I think it was called. Yeah, Slime Lights, used to go there. I saw Oasis in London in a pretty small venue. I think it was kind of just before they really made it super big. Not that I was ever a massive fan. I really liked the first couple of albums, but after that, it wasn't really my sort of... Yeah, Slime Lights. I can't remember exactly where it was. It probably was in the Angel. Yeah. I didn't mind the Britpop stuff. It wasn't really my sort of music, but I did like Electric Ballroom. Yeah, yeah. I remember going to Donington one year on my own when Metallica were playing, because I couldn't find anyone to go with. That was an experience, going on your own. Can't remember that. It must have been the early 90s, I guess. I can't remember when Metallica first played Donington, but... Well, this has been a very nice camp, I have to say. Yeah, we never went. I never went out to London with my wife that much, because she was from Kent, and we kind of met at work, which was in Kent, So we went out in Kent quite a lot, but I couldn't really. There was nowhere that really stood out, to be honest. We went to a lot of gigs back in the day in London and stuff, but yeah, this particular Donington I went to, it had a lot of the new big American bands at the time. Must have come over with Metallica. I think Machine Head played, and some other bands. It was the only time I'd ever gone. I think I went Glastonbury a few times, but it was the only time I went to Donington. I went to Glastonbury during the height of Britpop, when it was the year where I think Oasis and Pulp played. I actually preferred Pulp, to be honest, because they were a bit more, I don't know, not edgier, but just a bit, I don't know, a bit different, Pulp. This Justyn, I'm going to say it again, he's an absolute brute. He's just an even con though, isn't he? Even con, big guard, hits for a lot. Holy smokes. Come on, just get him running, for God's sake. Hit him. Holy moly. Get a load of misses. I hate those fights where you get them down and then you just get a load of misses. Or when they're running away and you keep missing. That's really frustrating. I'm not sure if it's worth actually bowing him. Oh, I did 11 damage. I mean, many of the bands I always wanted to see, I just couldn't. I was too young, couldn't afford it back in the day, like The Damned, Sisters of Mercy, all those kind of bands. In the 90s, I still am a bit, but I was heavily into the Norwegian black metal scene as well. But I've never seen any of those bands. The Damned and stuff. I think Sisters of Mercy as well still tour, but I'm not sure how often they get over here. I think even the Fungi were pretty much on equal terms with Guard Justyn there. But then I don't really have much other stuff apart from the hit point rings. There's nothing else drastic, and the weapons. I probably need, as I said at the start of the video, I probably need to go and get pick up some AC and hit point bits to increase those things. There's certain bands I listen to like after the fact. Like, I guess I was a bit of a snob back in the day, and so like for me, Green Day, it was like, well, they're not punk really, are they, kind of thing. But I listened to some of their songs afterwards, you know, and yeah, enjoyed some of them. I quite liked very early, mostly the first album, Offspring. Offspring were pretty big for a while in the UK. I saw them at Glastonbury as well. I got sunstroke at one Glastonbury because I've been bored for quite a long time. It runs in the family, yeah, I was walking around without a hat all day, drinking cider. That was an interesting experience. There's also a band about the same time who were a British band, but they never made it in the UK really. But they were really big in America. The guy was married. The singer was married to Gwen Stefani, I think. I'm not sure if he still is. I can't remember the name of the band. But they were, I think. Well, at the time, I kind of heard they were massive in America, but we didn't take to them very well that much over here. But actually, weirdly, you could say that for a lot of British bands. I've got to write that down. I just got a hit for 427. Holy smokes. That's 100 more than my biggest hit. I'm going to have to look up what their name was later. I remember the actor. I remember the lead singer also appeared in Constantine, which was the Hollywood fuck up of the comics with Keanu Reeves. I think he played a demon in it. I can't remember the band's name. I can't remember his name. All I know is married to Gwen Stefani. That's all. I haven't watched Glastonbury for a long time. I kind of. I know, again, this probably sounds a bit... I know it does sound very, what's the word I'm looking for? It sounds very snobbish, but Glastonbury's been taken over by fucking hipsters and millennials who just go there because it's trendy to go there. Gavin McGregor, yeah, what was the name of the band? I do remember I did quite like a few of the songs, even though it was a bit... I'm going to look it up. Gavin McGregor. Oh no, I've searched for Gavin McGregor and I don't think it's the Gavin McGregor that I'm searching for. Oh, here we go. It's got pictures of him singing and stuff. It's not telling me what the name of the bloody band is. Oh, Gavin Rossdale, that was his name. Gavin Rossdale, British musician, best known for the lead singer in Bush. Bush was the name of the band. And he was married to Gwen Stefani. I'm not sure if he still is married to Gwen Stefani. Henry Rollins was Emery. Cockney there. Henry Rollins. I never got into him particularly. Hi Sean. No, to be honest, mate, I can't play the official, like, FTP servers or whatever they're called. I can't play them. It's just not classic enough. Yeah, I just didn't have any interest in them. I played one a while back and I just didn't like it, so I gave up. I think probably Everquest in some form is going to be it. I think really. I've come to, over the weekend. I've come to the conclusion. Although I know that you've heard me say before that I don't like I don't like the term. Like maybe it's just not for you, because I think that you just drive customers away. Like over the weekend, I think I come to the conclusion that like modern indie MMOs maybe are just not for me. I think they want to push their experience. Well, no, that's kind of why I said over the weekend. Like there's just playing the game, experiencing some things, and looking at mechanics and listening to what they're saying about certain things. I'm not seeing it as the great hope anymore. Really, I think there's a trend in these games to just ask too much of players from a time point of view. And like some of it might be horizontal progress that you don't need to get involved in, but some of it is not. They seem to want to make things harder and more grindier than they were. And it's definitely a trend because they're all doing it. Like even M&M seems to be doing it. So yeah, I'm not sure now. I kind of think that, I know it sounds stupid to say that. I think EverQuest is that classic experience that, and we're just going to have to live with it because obviously it's the original. But I am slightly confused by the thought process of the current games and the current games in development. Like Pantheon is the same. It just seems to be a thing where they think there's an audience that are prepared to spend even more time playing their game. And when I say playing their game, it's not that you're playing the game, you're spending too much time not playing the game. Because there's too many barriers in the way and things have been slowed down drastically. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it at the moment. I mean, we've always got EverQuest in some form, some emulated form, so it's not a big issue, but it would be nice just to play something that gave us that feeling. And I guess the feeling's different for everyone as well, isn't it? Like I mean, I understand no one's going to capture the feeling of this, and I'm talking about the music, the sound effects, the art style and stuff like that. I can kind of accept that. That's fine. And maybe some, I mean, I kind of, like when I'm playing a game, I do have a little look on the Discord to see what's going on, and there are a lot of people on the Discord saying, oh, well, this game or that game, it gives me an old school vibe or an EverQuest vibe and stuff, and that's fine, I guess, but I do look at, like, maybe it's my fault. I guess maybe it is my fault, maybe I'm trying to too literally compare EverQuest to other games mechanically. But my biggest gripe is just what the games are asking players to do, and the time that they're asking them to invest, and they're just asking too many. They're putting more barriers in the way. Like I was talking. I think it was one of the devs I was talking to yesterday, and we were on. I was streaming on Twitch yesterday for some weird reason. I don't know why, but I think one of the devs came on because I was saying how I just didn't like the fact that you dropped your spellbook when you die, and they was kind of trying to explain it to me, but I still don't see it. I still don't see it as a. It's just another it's another punishment in a game, a genre of games where people look at Everquest and they don't play Everquest because they already find it too punishing. So you're adding punishment, you're adding time to. And I know they said that apparently you can have like a mount, and you can keep a spare spell book on your mount. So I don't know, like when you die, do you summon your mount and then you can get the spell book out and stuff? But then you get into a situation where, like, how many spell books do you need? If your group wipes and then you wipe on a corpse recovery, you then need another book. Do you have to buy all the spells for all the books that you're going to keep and all that kind of stuff? It's extra time and whatnot. An extra barriers in the way to actually playing the game. Whereas maybe it's my age, but I've just got to a point where I just want to play the game. I understand, like I'm not adverse to downtime. So like, as I said to you earlier on in the stream, like I've been running like like backwards and forwards to Ogok without Spirit of Wolf. And it's fine. I've done that. I've enjoyed doing it, and you kind of accept that as a part of it. But when new games are coming out and they're coming up with new ways to make you spend more time not actually playing the game, I just felt it's a bit of a detriment. It's like the thing. I mean, it was less of a problem, but I don't understand that in Monsters of Memories you've got vendors that only buy certain things, so you can't now just go to any vendor and sell your stuff. Again, eventually you work out where the vendors are that you want to go to, etc., and whatnot. But it's still another barrier in the way, and you've still got to spend more time not playing the game, and that was, and that really was the issue that I had with other games as well, like Embers Adrift. Like in Embers Adrift, I spent more time trying to overcome the obstacles the game was putting in the way. Than I was actually playing and enjoying the game. And Monsters of Memories was starting to feel a bit like that yesterday. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's a game really that I'll go heavy on. I'll see how it turns. It's still got a year and a half before it's released, so I'm sure there'll be lots of changes. But it does seem to be a trend, and it does make me feel that the current developers are just out of touch with what players want. I think the issue is that you get, I've said it before about all the games, not just Monsters of Memories, but you get a hardcore group of people on your Discord telling you that what you're doing is right, and what you're doing is what they want, and it's what a classic community wants, but it's not what they want. It's only what a hardcore, very, very small group of players want. And I think that's a problem. Yeah, I guess that's unavoidable now. It's. I mean, I had someone trying to use the argument a few weeks ago that the reason that everything's easier in Everquest now is because we know everything. But like, MMOs are not released as like Everquest is now. Like, by the time Pantheon comes out as a proper release, there will be players that know everything about it because they've been playing for all the tests. By the time Monsters of Memories comes out, there'll be players that know more about it than other players because they've played it more. I think that's that's just something that's unavoidable now. I think that I mean, by the time like Shrouded Avatar or Embers Adrift came out, I'd be playing. But by the time they'd had like an official release, I've been playing those games for quite a lot, so my game knowledge was very high on those games. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe. I mean, I've moaned about it quite a lot, or I've discussed it quite a lot, depending on your point of view. If you see it as moaning or discussion, but yeah, maybe the saying is true. Maybe these games, new indie MMOs, are just not for me. Not if they're going to. I don't know if they're going to ask a lot more of me than classic MMOs are asking. I just think it's and it doesn't feel. It's not even as though the decisions are really justified in any way. It's not adding anything to the game except for time. And maybe it's because they've got no confidence in the content that they've got, so they're trying to find ways of keeping you in the game. But I think recent indie MMOs that have tried to do that have shown that it doesn't keep people in the game. It ultimately drives them away pretty quickly. But yeah, you know, I'm just moaning again. It's something that I've discussed a lot over the last couple of years, but it is what it is. You know, it'll come out and we'll see how it goes, and then everyone can make up their mind as to whether they want to play it or not. Yeah, I mean, I'm perfectly happy with all of the downtime and the, if you want to call it, horizontal progress, crafting, gathering, whatever it may be. You know, in a classic, in the context of a classic MMO, but when they're adding to that, and they seem to be almost, because they're all doing it, it almost feels as though they're purposely adding to it because it's a trend, and for some reason they want it to be harder. It's almost like they're trying to outdo each other on how long it takes to level and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's weird. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know, but as I said, maybe it's me. I don't know. You're allowed your say. Yeah, but do you know what, mate? I think it gets to a point where even I get tired of hearing myself. I think, you know, and I think the thing is the general trend within the general trend within in anything now, not just in MMOs, is it's either like hyper positive or hyper negative, and if you're kind of in the middle pointing out issues, you still get classed as being like on the hyper negative side, even though you're kind of just pointing out. And you're arguing with logic. I mean, as I said, I know maybe my weakness is I'm comparing them all to Everquest, but when they're telling me that you know, they're the spiritual successors and they're based on that format and whatnot, I'm not adverse to change, but I am adverse to feel like I'm being punished as a trend because the developer just seems to want to make things harder for the player. I'm not sure. Well, it's not a good thing because the games that are currently trying it are not, and hardly anyone's playing them. And I know that Monsters of Memories has had a big kick at the moment, and everyone's excited for it, and people are playing it, and you know, they're getting up to level 6 or 7, and they're thinking, you know, this is really great and whatnot. But other games have had the same thing, you know, like oops, I don't know, I've done that. Embers Adrift had a lot of players on release, and it had a lot of coverage on YouTube, but no one's playing it now. Obviously, someone's playing it, but it's a tiny group of players. So it's not like what's happening with Monsters at the moment is anything different from an early positivity point of view. But it's more when the game comes out and you get into the, you know, you get to the bones of it and you start to bang your head against systems that. But it's interesting looking at. I mean, it is an interesting. It is an interesting idea, like a spellcaster dropping their spell book, and when you think about it, maybe it seems fairer and more logical, because if my warrior dies now, he drops all of his stuff, but because we're used to a certain way, it feels like it's an added punishment. And I do think the spellbook thing is different to the warrior dropping his weapons, because in EverQuest, if you're in a group and the group wipes, the warrior is essentially reliant on the casters for getting his, you know, fighting towards his corpse and getting his stuff back. Whereas in this situation, you're all naked. You know, the cleric can't. You know, as I said, there's going to be ways of having a spare spell book, but I don't like that, and I also don't like it from a role playing aspect. You know, I don't like the role playing aspect of like a wizard spell book just being something you keep loads of copies of in the bank. I just don't like it from a role playing point of view. It doesn't make it feel, you know. I mean, I don't know if any of you feel the same way, but from looking at the polls that I did and talking to you over the years, you know, you generally seem to feel the same way about it. I don't know. I know it's difficult to be kind of negative about a new game that you've played and you feel quite excited for. But yeah, I don't know. As I said, maybe it's just me. I didn't play a lot, to be honest, mate. I did try. I have tried the emulated server a bit, but last time I tried it, it was still kind of like a heavy work in progress. So I didn't really have much experience with it. And dropping the spellbook thing, it doesn't really seem as though there is actually any real reason for it. You know, maybe it maybe other than saying, well, it's logical and fairer because a warrior drops all their stuff. It's the only reason it really makes any sense. It doesn't make the game any more fun. Maybe it's an excuse to use. Maybe it's an excuse to make use of travelling storage that you'll have. So it kind of gives it some purpose there, but I still don't see the point of it in it adding to the game. I guess you could also see be in the situation of groups where maybe people would have to leave a group or whatever. You know, if you wipe and your cleric's got a spare spell book and you wipe again trying to do a corpse recovery, well then that cleric is essentially useless. Which then you leads into the situation of having to have loads of spare spell books. You know, would that cleric then? I mean, I'd feel like I'll leave the group and get a cleric in who's actually got their spells available to help you with a corpse recovery. There's so many different negatives to it, I feel. Maybe for me, like classic MMOs were kind of about my tolerance limit. So maybe EverQuest is my tolerance limit for time that I'm willing um, to give to systems that don't involve actually playing the game. And maybe, I don't know. I mean, there doesn't seem to be looking at the populations, but maybe there is a population out there that wants a more hardcore experience, even over and above classic MMOs. Yeah, I think EverQuest is kind of like my tolerance limit, I think. So anything that's added that's a roadblock, I think Is it adding any fun to the game? No. Well, then it's a bad idea. It's Everquest with more fun is what I would like to play. Yeah, I mean, thinking about it, the only thing I could come up with that might make it a bit more tolerable is on the spell book. You've got an innate ability part of the spell book, so maybe you could learn, what is there, 10 spell slots? Maybe you could learn 10 spells or 8 spells or whatever that were innate. So you always had them memorized. You always knew them, even if you lost your spell book. But even then, I still can't really justify the spellbook drop change even then, because it's not adding any fun to the game. It's adding another obstacle, I guess, is what I'm saying, and I don't want any more obstacles. A bit like D&D, maybe once a day you can memorize certain spells that are always there for that day. There's a lot of different things you can come up with that might make the system less punishing, but ultimately, in the back of my mind, I'm still thinking to myself, I don't know why this is in there, because it doesn't add any fun to the game. But it's just... And what you see as well is that, like, leading up to, like, during like testing and stuff and leading up to release, these systems get defended like by a core player base, small player base, and the only reason that they defend it is because they want a developer to go, oh, well done, and pat them on the head. It's the only reason I can think of, when you look at how they speak and the way they act. And they'll like call people names who are like pushing back against these systems and whatever it may be. And then the game comes out as it is, and then even they stop playing after a period of time. So those people who were, you know, driving other players off who were maybe asking questions end up not playing the game as well. Hey Don, how you doing? I would like to see some progress or some experimentation taken with like classes and abilities and stuff. I mean, I think, I mean, one of the things at the moment, I think, with Monsters and Memories is that all the classes do feel very similar to EverQuest, and that's kind of, that's good in a way. But I would like to see us. I like to see us move away from. So, like, I like the looks of the Inquisitor class, but at the moment it feels like it's just going to be a warrior plus a enchanter, whereas the spellblade is going to be a warrior with some wizard stuff. And I'm sure that they will get it, but I would like to see some experimentation in classes, even if it's just like flavor, you know, just like flavor role playing stuff, where a shaman is just not a buffer with Spirit of Wolf, you know, and that kind of stuff. It's oh, if you don't mind, mate. Yeah, I'm going to have to go soon because I've got some chores to do, but I will. I'll hang around for some buffs and I can use them later or tomorrow or whatever. That was actually one part that I quite liked about Pantheon. So when I was playing the Dire Lord, who I guess is supposed to be a bit like a Shadow Knight, I guess, in a way, I quite liked it because there were some different gameplay mechanics there outside of what you would play. I wasn't sure at first, and I'm still not a big fan of like all the cooldowns and stuff, but I did enjoy the gameplay of that, and I enjoyed the gameplay of the Paladin as well, actually, because it kind of felt a bit like an Everquest Paladin, but wasn't. But it had some ideas of its own. It had some systems of its own. I think it was the Shaman that had a really interesting thing where you. Was it? I think it was the Shaman in Pantheon where I don't think it's exactly right, but you cast the spell on yourself, and then a timer starts, and I think you press the spell again, and it rewinds you back to the point you were at when you cast the spell. So it was a bit like I cast a spell here, and I run over here, maybe pull some mobs or something or whatever, or maybe I'm about to die or something, and I'm fighting here, and then I use it again, and it teleports me back to the point that I was at. That seemed quite interesting. Maybe I'm not remembering that correctly, but I'm sure there was a spell like that in Pantheon on the Shaman that did that, which I thought was quite an interesting idea. I'm not sure if it wiped aggro or whatever, but again, it was just a bit different. Like tactically, it felt like it would be a good thing. You could use it in some interesting things. It was a bit like Cough on a magician, but a bit more short-term, instantaneous kind of thing. Yeah, that was quite interesting. I've got all this copper, and let's get rid of some of this. How much is that? 66 plat. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, but anyway, that I like the idea of that. That sounds quite interesting. What all the games are doing as well, including Monsters of Memories, is this collecting from nodes stuff, and again, it's just it's becoming incredibly generic because everyone's doing it. Like Pantheon's doing it, Emergent does it, and it leads to another issue where, like in a PvE game, you're having to compete for nodes. So unless you're willing to run around searching for that one node that someone hasn't collected on day of release, like you can't do any crafting. I don't like that. I don't like the fact that they're implementing all of these survival game mechanics essentially into it. But when you're I can't say it in a PvP game, like competing for nodes and stuff, it makes sense, but not in a PvE game. Like if you enjoy doing crafting, not being able to do crafting because there's 50 people all trying to get the same node as soon as it respawns, all that kind of stuff as well, I really just don't like. It's not very classic at all. It might have been like a mini gate kind of thing. I'm not sure if there was a distance or not. I think there was a time limit. I'm not sure if there was a distance, but it was just a nice idea, and it opens up a lot of different tactical. I always wondered how people feel about like more flavour role playing abilities, like superfluous stuff. Maybe most people might. I was going to use Project Gorgon as an example, but actually some of the systems are quite integral in Project Gorgon. So, I love the idea of catching lycanthropy in Project Gorgon, and then it's tied to like the real world like moon phases. So when the real world moon phases are full moon, then you're actually permanently a werewolf in game until until the full moon cycle goes. I really like that as an idea. That's what I would like to see more of. More of that kind of stuff in the MMOs that are coming out, but we're just not getting that kind of creativity, I don't think. Or like you learn a language, like you learn Goblinese in the game, and then you can talk to, and that opens up other quests and training and stuff because you can talk to Goblin NPCs and whatnot. I quite like the idea that necromancers had to be near like gravestones to summon their pets and stuff. And I think you could die and use your own gravestones maybe as a way of doing it. I know some necromancers hated that because it just means if your pets die it can be a bit annoying. But I like those kind of ideas, and those are the ideas we're not seeing in any games. That kind of stuff, that really interesting kind of flavourful like role playing stuff. Project Gorgon seems to be the only game that's kind of gone near that kind of thing, which is a shame because I think that I'd love a lot more. I guess those things that are not crucial from a actual gameplay loop kind of view are maybe just not seen as important. But I thought it was really interesting. I really liked it. I didn't mind the idea of what Pantheon's doing, like the acclimatization kind of system. Like Project Gorgon's already got that, but I do think it's a bit punishing in Project Gorgon. Like, unless you train up in certain skills, it's quite difficult to. You can just buy loads of campfires and just sit around a campfire, but it is quite limiting. I think maybe it's slightly over the top in Project Gorgon. I know someone who's been playing it for years, got all the skills level, probably won't feel that way. But if you're a bit more casual, but yeah, I love those kind of like role playing, flavourful kind of things. So I always thought it would be cool if the magicians in Everquest could just summon a load of shit that just didn't mean anything. But it was, they could just do it because it was fun, and whatnot. I always wanted the shaman classes after playing Everquest, I always wanted the shaman classes to be tied a bit more to the ancestral spirit type thing, which I think is what they're trying. I think is what that skill in Pantheon is tied to a bit more, just to give classes rather than it just being a copy of an Everquest shaman. It gives it a bit more flavour, a bit more. But maybe people don't like that. I don't know. Like maybe someone would think. Maybe some people in Project Gorgon thought, "Oh, I'm going to catch lycanthropy. That's really cool." But then, for 3 or 4 days out of the month, maybe it was like, "Oh, bugger," because you can't get rid of it. I don't think once you've got it. So, I like the way that you became a druid in that game as well. It really made it feel kind of like special when you unlock druid. Yeah, just all those little ideas. I've said this before, but I tried to come up with some of my own classes once, and the one that I really liked, I guess it could be like a magician summoning class as well. I like the idea of a class, so like a summoning class being more powerful, but it's very static. So like I came up with this like demonologist kind of class where it can summon pets and demons and stuff, but they're generally of a weaker thingy. But the demonologist could kind of like use regents to create like a summoning circle on the ground essentially. But the summoning circle was static, so you'd get to your, so you'd have a demonologist in your group, but it had pets that were all right, but you were kind of carrying him or her. Uh, but when you actually got to your camp, the demonologist would create his summoning circle, and then he could summon some hefty demons. The limitation obviously was the summoning circle was static; you couldn't move it. But yeah, I quite like the idea of that kind of thing. A group feign. Did EverQuest have group feign death? That's brilliant. You know, why are other games not adopting that? I imagine that's really cool. Yeah, just cast a spell on your group, make out they're all dead. Yeah, I love the idea of that. Yeah, but yeah, more fun abilities that are not necessarily crucial in combat, but they give your class more flavour. Um, Even pets and stuff, like as a shaman, even in other games, like why are all the pets that I summon just a wolf? A spirit wolf. Why can't it be someone else? Why can't it be a human? Why can't I summon an ancestral ogre if I'm playing an ogre race as my pet, as a a companion or something? A bit like a Lord of the Rings Online, like the captain class. Like why can't I summon maybe a pet that does a bit of healing or is a ranged pet or something? You know, just not just the same all the time. But yeah, I always kind of like the idea of that class idea where it wasn't super powerful in transit, but if it was, if you got to a camp like this and it set up its summoning circle and all that kind of stuff, then yeah, you cracked out the big demons. Yeah, you cracked out your Beelzebub and your Asmodean. You got them. Yeah, they got those boys out. And you get different circles as well. So maybe you take longer over your summoning circle. The longer you take, the higher circle or level demons you can summon, all that kind of stuff. No, do you know what? The first time I played a monk and I feigned death, I didn't know how to get up again. I must confess that I did that. And I imagine it must be hilarious in a group when they have to say, how do I have to ask, how do I get up again? That would be really cool, though. I mean, I don't know why other games haven't adopted that. Like other games that use feign death, like group feign death. That sounds amazing. That's a real group lifesaver. Obviously, you want it in certain so it doesn't not abusable, but although actually maybe you do want it abusable. That's the beauty of EverQuest, I think. Is that over time people worked out strategies and a way to abuse spells and systems. Why not? That's what makes the game interesting. That's what makes the gameplay emergent, rather than the homogenized kind of experience that so-called classic players moan about in World of Warcraft and stuff. I want mechanics in there that players can work out ways of abusing, because that's where you get the fun stuff. As I've said, obviously, you don't want someone abusing something so they're soloing dragons and raid content, but outside of that, who cares really? Oh, no worries, mate. Yeah, West Corana is huge. Huge. Yeah, I'm all for it. Give every class one mentally overpowered ability that literally changes the experience for a short period of time. Maybe it's not a long timer. That's fine. But just give people more amazing fun things to do rather than putting another signpost in the way or a roadblock or something. That's what it should be all about. It's the same in single player games, isn't it? Again, I know that I'm basically repeating myself, but I find it absolute nonsense that single player role playing games like Cyberpunk are having like balance changes. Like I enjoyed like balance patches and stuff. Like I used to really enjoy the cyber deck way of playing, but the cyber decks must have had about half a dozen balance patches. It's a single player role playing game. Why are you balancing it? It's just stupid. I don't get it. The players want to feel mentally overpowered at a certain point. You know, it's weird. Yeah, it's a shame, but I'd like to have like an ability, like on a timer, that when the shit hits the fan, I just summon all of my ancestors, uh, and they all as pets. They all go crazy and save the day, and then obviously it's on a reasonable timer so that you can't do it every fight. It feels like we kind of went too far one way, didn't we? Like with modern MMOs, where you had all these people like waving pitchforks and torches, going, "Oh, modern MMOs, we're going to show you. We're going to make games that are even harder, you know, even more time consuming than classic MMOs were. We'll show you bloody World of Warcraft and New World and whatever." We're overcompensating. Yeah, like why not steal some stuff from um, like real world shamanism and stuff. I know shamans get like alchemy, but yeah, brew up some ayahuasca, you know, and everyone in your group gets one, and it's a super duper potion. Maybe you can make it. Maybe you can make enough for a group like once a day or something, and yeah, it does some amazing effect when the shit hits the fan, kind of thing. That kind of stuff. Yeah, N2O. I think was it you the other day who said that it's pretty easy to set up your own server now. Have you got a link or something to how you did yours? Because I'd definitely give it a go. Uh, do you know what? Do you know what, Don? I know. At the moment, you know, the game is very much like seen as a big hope and stuff. But yeah, just playing it yesterday and reading about some of the systems and stuff that they've talked about, it just feels to me like we're still following the same trend of putting roadblocks in the way of people that in front of players that are less fun and more time consuming and more grindy. Um, and there was just some things that I kind of saw and read about that kind of made me feel that I'm not. Yes, I'm not sure now. I haven't really got any. It's not I haven't got any hope. I'm at the moment. I'm from now on. I'm just going to take the next indie MMO release as it comes, and if it doesn't suit me, then I just won't play it. Essentially, that's how it goes. But I'm assuming there must be some communication that goes on between the teams. I'm sure because they're all in the same field, but it just feels that we've reached a point where the standardized way of creating an indie MMO currently is to take a classic formula and make it more time consuming and introduce systems that are more punishing and where you have to where you spend less time playing the game, but you spend more and more time overcoming obstacles that the game puts in front of you. That's kind of the way it seems to. That's the way I see it. I kind of feel that indie MMO development has become very similar, very homogenized between the games. And so I'll just wait and see now. You know, I'm seeing things in Pantheon that are in Monsters of Memories, that are in Shroud of the Avatar, that are in Embers Adrift. You know, it really does seem as though it's becoming quite formulaic. But there you go. As I said, I'm at that point now. I'm just going to wait. I'm just going to suck it and see what happens. It comes out. If I like it, I'll play it. If not, I just won't bother. I'm not. It's a rather attractive shaman there, just turned up. I do like the barbarian look. I was thinking about secretly creating a barbarian shaman, but I don't think people could cope with the fact if I created another shaman. They'd probably go out of their mind. I always like the idea of role playing that traditional kind of like cold northern barbarian-y shaman-y thing, just from a role playing aspect, really. I think they look very attractive in there. I think before you came though, Don, I did say earlier that maybe it's just me. You know, I know that you've probably heard me say a lot that I don't like it when I hear players just say to another player, "Oh, well, this game's obviously just not for you." Because I think then what happens is that you end up just losing all of your players, and you're just left with that, you know, that core group that's not enough to support the game. But maybe indie MMO development is just not for me at the moment. You know, maybe I just stick to Everquest and that's it. I think again, for people that have been here for the whole stream, I'm repeating myself, but I think EverQuest is kind of my limit with regards to like time sinks and roadblocks. I think I've come to that conclusion, and I think if an MMO comes out and they're going to be adding to those roadblocks and grinds and whatever it may be, then I'm kind of out. I think probably. Thanks for the buffs, mate. That's super duper. So if I just Google AKK EverQuest server or whatever, mate, will that kind of get me there? Is it the does it use the titanium client and stuff? Thanks, mate. I'm going to log now, and I'll save those buffs for tomorrow or later. I've got some chores to do. Thanks, buddy. That's awesome. I will give that a go. I always like the idea of of trying my own server, seeing how it goes. This is a very newbie technical question, but can I run the server on the same PC that I'm playing on? Or will I need a PC to run the server specifically? I'll check it out. I'll go to the link and just have a read up and stuff and see what's what. Can you play it as like a classic feel? It's not kind of like, it hasn't got... Okie doke. I'll check it out. Anyway, everyone, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to me moaning and stuff. And I think what I'll probably do later is what I was going to do is I want to quest for some crafted armor for this guy. So what I'll do tomorrow is I'll make up a little spreadsheet of locations I need to go to later, and then on the next stream I'll do a stream. Cool. Okay, mate. Thank you. I'll do a stream doing some of those. Yeah, I want to visit different places to get some of the items that I need for the crafted armor quest. I think you turn them in at the Centaurs in South Karana, don't you? But we'll travel across. I mean, some of them I might not be able to get. I think the breastplate requires a werewolf fang or claw, and I think the only place you can get it is in Mistmore. So I'm not sure if I can get to those. But if anyone's on at the time and they want to come along to help out, that would be great. Might do it tomorrow. I'll see if I can. But yeah, we'll travel across the old world, just trying to pick up quest pieces for the crafted armor, and then I'll try and get the gems and go and turn them in. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll speak to you all